You know, when we look back at the extraordinary reign of the late Queen Elizabeth, it becomes clear that her brilliance and quiet strength were rooted in a particular tradition, a way of presenting herself that came from a different era. She would never have done some of the things we see modern royals doing today, not because she lacked warmth, but because the expectations placed upon her were entirely different. And that contrast is exactly why Catherine, the Princess of Wales, stands out so vividly now. She manages to resonate not just in one way, but on multiple levels at once, bringing a fresh approach to royal engagements while still honoring the legacy she will someday inherit. So let me guide you through this. Good morning, chums. It is wonderful to see you back again, and I truly hope you're doing well, wherever in the world you might be watching from. I continue to adore your comments, especially when you share your hometowns and famous figures from your region. Someone recently mentioned being from St. Helens, and immediately memories came rushing back. Pilkington Glass, the Theatre Royal, places that feel familiar because once you've traveled the country doing theatre, every town becomes linked with a stage. You walk into a place like Lancaster and immediately think of the Duke's Theatre, you pop up to Aberdeen and recall His Majesty's Theatre, it all blends together in a wonderfully nostalgic way. And let me tell you, St. Helens boasts not only a kind audience but also a bakery I remember far too fondly. But I mustn't get carried away, because I always get told off for wandering off the topic, and today's royal story deserves our full attention. When people think of Queen Elizabeth, they often remember her as slightly distant, not unfriendly, just reserved. She fulfilled her role with extraordinary discipline. But behind closed doors, she had an exquisite sense of humor. Those fortunate enough to photograph her often recalled her infectious giggle and playful charm. Yet she was shaped by the standards of her time, by the idea that a monarch should remain an almost mythic figure, one step removed, quietly stoic, endlessly composed. Catherine, however, is part of a new chapter in royal life. She is destined to be queen one day, but she travels a path that allows more personality, more humanity, more genuine connection. We've seen it already in the hugs she gives, the selfies she allows, the way she and William present themselves as approachable, modern parents. Some applaud the shift, others feel nostalgia for the older, more formal style. And while I understand both perspectives, I must admit I do worry when fans pull her in a little too eagerly for those selfies. Safety matters, and in today's world, unpredictability is everywhere. If I were advising her personally, I'd gently encourage a bit of caution. Still, when Catherine attended the Royal Variety performance at the Royal Albert Hall, an absolutely magnificent evening, the spotlight was undeniably hers. Regardless of personal opinions about the monarchy, Catherine possesses a natural star quality. She walks into a room and captures attention without needing to try. And while I'm far from being a fashion expert, I've been told her gown that night was stunning. Its color suited her beautifully, though I must admit I found myself fretting about the cold weather, as I often do. I thought, wrap up warm, love, you don't want to catch a chill, and if she ends up sniffling, well, I did my best to warn her from afar. But here's where everything shifts and where Catherine's unique impact becomes clear. After the performance, during the lineup, she warmly embraced Jessie J, the singer. I met Jessie early in her career and found her to be a genuinely kind soul. In recent years, she has endured not one but two battles with cancer, which takes tremendous strength. When she and Catherine shared that hug, it wasn't just a pop star greeting a princess. It was two women who have both faced frightening health challenges, two women who understand the weight of medical uncertainty, meeting in a moment of compassion that transcended status and ceremony. It was deeply human, deeply touching, and a reminder that beyond titles and fame, people connect through shared experience. But the evening offered a lighter moment as well, one that has already had remarkable ripple effects. Catherine and William met Paddington Bear. And if you've followed my recent updates, you'll know all about the Paddington Bear musical currently delighting audiences at the Savoy Theatre, starring my wonderful friend Bonnie Langford. The show has been performing exceptionally well, but after Catherine and William posed with Paddington, who, I'm sure, had at least one marmalade sandwich hidden away, the box office saw an immediate boost. Ticket sales surged, and the run of the show has now been extended. That is the extraordinary power of royal visibility. Yet we must remember that this renewed love for Paddington really took flight during that unforgettable Jubilee sketch featuring Queen Elizabeth and Paddington sharing tea and sandwiches. That moment became iconic, sealing Paddington's place in British cultural history all over again. Catherine mentioned afterward that her children would be tremendously jealous that their parents had met Paddington in person, and frankly, who could blame them? It was one of those whimsical encounters that remind us why these events matter. What I find especially moving is the dual nature of these royal interactions. They bring comfort and encouragement to individuals, as they did with Jessie J, and simultaneously provide huge boosts to the arts, to entertainment, and to the countless jobs connected to these industries. A single photo, a single warm gesture, a single charming moment with a beloved character can transform public interest, generate financial support, and create stability for performers, staff, and theaters. All of that came from this one meeting with Paddington. So to Paddington, my congratulations. To William, well done. And to Catherine, the Princess of Wales, your warmth, your sincerity, and your ability to connect continue to make an extraordinary difference.